What's up, guys? Sub-Zero here, back for another VOD review. If you guys missed it, Worlds Day 1 finished up today. It was a really exciting day of competition. YBY won first place overall on the day. Not saying that I called it, but I did call it. And just a crazy performance out of APAC. In the top 8, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not we, because I'm not from APAC, but they have 5 people in the top 8. We, and as our America selves, do have 2 in the top 8, Milk and SoBio, and a few people not far behind. Spencer right there, right out of the top 8, and then Robin Song's Dishsoap down here. Dank Memes a little further down, quite difficult. And I think we had 2 people eliminated today, Bopster and Black Sheep. You know, somebody's got to be. Oh, and Ego, actually, which a lot of people had really high hopes for Ego. I think he's a very solid player, but you know, it's TFT. Sometimes you don't have a good game. I was going to VOD review YBY1, and then I loaded up this VOD, and is this not the most high roll spot you've ever seen in your life? He took shields up. He's got 5 rumbles at 3-1, 5 Seraphines. It's just perfect items. Like, it's too gross. So instead, I'm going to VOD review Dishsoap's last game, which he needed a really good performance in. His early scores in this tournament were not that strong, and I also think you know, I saw a little bit of this game watching Frodan's co-stream, and I feel like this game is a really good. It's really important, the things that Dishsoap does in this game. These are really fundamental skills as a TFT player, and I think Dishsoap does not fall into a trap that I think a lot of players would fall into in TFT, and so I think it's worth talking about. So let's watch this VOD of our GOAT, Dishsoap, who did make it on to day 2. And look, as many people said, you know, Dishsoap was just powering up over day 1. Exact same thing happened at last year's Worlds, where he kind of like had a really rough day 1, and then day 2 he just turned it on and popped off. So I have full faith in Dishsoap here to pop off here. So start off the game, certainly want to hold on to this Ahri Lilia setup here. This is one of the best reroll comps in the entire game. Soraka as well, fantastic with the mages, and we can hold on to these vanguards as well here. Once again, going to be a world where Dishsoap's not holding on to like shapeshifters and that kind of stuff. He's not interested. There is a Synderen shop as well, which is a really high priority really high priority comp, like reroll comp as well, like one of the best ones. The problem is we don't have a mana item, and it's really just what would you sell for the Cinder. I guess you could sell like Kog'Maw here, with the idea that your items, you have a Ra, you don't really want to play for Kog'Maw. So I don't know, I could maybe see selling Kog'Maw here, but looks like Dishsoap's just gonna sit on it, and he gets a crazy start augment wise. Learning to spell, practice partners, big gains. Learn to spell, still a really solid augment if you want to play into this this comp, and we would certainly really love to angle into Ahri here. And then we reroll, we get high horsepower as well with 1 Lilia, which is a, you know, a great option as well to play into this Ahri reroll type setup, because you're rolling for Lilia 3 already, so you might as well just, you know, play around high horsepower. Dishsoap here, I'm actually really surprised. Can I turn on his voice here? Well, I want to go back and see, because he didn't scout at all there. Was he looking at stats? What's going on here? This is really weird. He's gonna look at high horsepower items. Okay, and I will show that in. Is JG good on this unit? JG okay. So I think this is actually something really crucial that Dishsoap did here. Whoa, I don't know. You could even. How did I? Does everything do it like that? Okay, rolls in a magic wand, and he ends up taking high horsepower. Let's look at Lily items high horsepower, actually, because this is quite important. We have JG and Sword as our components here if we want to make JG. Statistically, JG is positive delta on this unit. It's not amazing. And maybe he was himself looking at like builds and seeing like, okay, you know, like maybe it's in here, maybe it's in here. It's not amazing on this Lily unit statistically, right? But I think this is a trap that so many TFT players fall into, and I love that Dishsoap did not fall into this trap this game. It's that JG is fine on this Lilia, and what you get out of making JG on this Lilia is a lot of tempo and a lot of just, you know, it makes the rest of your items way easier, because now we're JG, we have Sword open that can be for that BT, which once again statistically is fantastic, one of the best items onto Lilia here. A ton of games played and negative delta, which tends to be, if you got a lot of games played and negative delta, that is usually a very good sign. But yeah, I think this is a really smart play from Dishsoap, and I think so many people would say, oh, you know what, I'm gonna greed, because, you know, like I think a lot of people, you'd pull up BIS and say, well, Rod, that's for like Ionic Spark or Archangel, so I can't slam that, and like Glove, that could be like Hodge, so I'm gonna slave these items, and this is gonna be Hodge, Archangel's BT, and I'm just gonna never slam anything. So many people fall into that trap, especially like lower elo people below like master tier. I would say in TFT really fall into this trap of saying, I'm not gonna slam an item because it's perfect. And Dishsoap says, you know what, this item is imperfect, but I'm going to slam it here. the second that I get my BT off of Carousel, this Lilia is going to be a monster, and I'm also going to get insane tempo next stage when I get to play on this Lilia. Also, our board just got a lot stronger. Also, important to note this game, we are not alone in this comp here. So there's this Incantor player, there's this guy with Transmogrification or whatever, there's this 2 tanky bees player, there's a lot of 2 tanky bees, there's this guy also who has 2 tanky and he's holding on to some of our units right now, and then there's this guy also who's holding the opener. This is, like I said, a very popular reroll comp, so it is not that crazy that we are going to end up contested in this line here, and I would say it's interesting how, Dishsoap ended up playing around that kind of stuff this game. So we'll see. The Incantor +1 here out of, this is Title. Title's zooming around the board, so I can't even read his name. Also, what a stacked lobby, by the way. Title's in this lobby. Milk is also in this lobby. Ningli and 62nd are in this lobby. Dank Memes, Hung Hung, and Og as well. Like, we got great players from every single region in this lobby, so it's such a treat to watch. God, Worlds is so fun. But hey, we win a fight here. We really would like Cloak off Carousel here to complete Bloodthirster onto our Lilia. It's a really important item to make. Okay, and boom, we get it. This is big. Because not only is this a shield for Lilia, so that when she gets a little bit low HP, she can shield herself back up and not die, and then, like, get a cast and heal back up. It's also obviously healing for Lilia, which, if you have played this augment and built a healing item onto Lilia, you will see this Lilia unit just going for the cast and just absolutely one-tapping people and then just healing back up to full, essentially. But yeah, I mean, the scout from Dishsoap, you see there's a lot going on here. Wow, I love this little positioning from Dishsoap to try to make sure his Lilia is in the right spot, make sure that she can hit the most high-priority frontliners. But yeah, I mean, this fight, actually, we're fighting some strong boards. We're fighting a Kog'Maw here. I mean, 2 tanky Kog'Maw boards. This is not a weak lobby, and yeah, Dishsoap actually down to 83. I didn't fully watch his POV, but I didn't actually realize how low he got early this game, because 17 HP lost over these first few fights is, I mean, he'll be fine, especially if he can find Lilia 3, but, it's going to take a while, and he keeps scouting 62nd, and like, look at the 62nd guy. He's holding onto Ahri. That guy's holding onto Ahri as well, had a blue buff made on Ahri. I think that's the big thing, is that second person that we scouted who just took their Ahri off the board to try to grief to make sure that he keeps a full loss streak. I think that's Hong Kong, or Hang. I'm not actually sure the pronunciation, but that's really scary. I almost thought that was an RE2, but maybe it wasn't. I didn't look that closely. I want to get a scout on again on them, but it looked scary. And I mean, with the blue buff, it certainly looked like they wanted to play towards Ahri here. Straka 2 is not really going to matter. Good, just kind of, okay. Oh, that is an RE2, right? I'm not crazy. That was an RE2. Let's go back and look. Yeah, that's RE2 here. This is really annoying, actually, because they took a lost streak augment that's going to give them more items. Their items are so good for Ahri. We're contested. We are contested in this spot here, which is really scary, especially with an augment like this, where you kind of have to. If you don't go for Lilia 3, your game's over. Like, you need a Lilia 3 to play the game. So yeah, you just have to go for it. All right, next couple of items here. Sword plus belt plus rod. Kind of awkward. You could think about making, like, once again, if we do like the kind of like, let's look for BIS, I would say, you could go for something out of the rod. It would be like Ionic Spark or Archangels, but you can never actually make something out of the rod here because of what that would do with your item economy. That would leave your leftover slam as Sterax here. That's a lot of Lilias, so I think we're probably gonna roll down a good bit here. I wonder when he stops. He does opt to stop at 34 HP here, and he makes this slam. I love this slam out of Dishsoap, the Gunblade here. Getting to a 3-item Lilia as soon as possible is really important. And I'm pretty sure if you look statistically at this Lilia augment, you don't want to build double healing on Lilia. You want her to be able to deal some damage. You want her to become a monster the later the fight goes. So, something like an Archangel of Titans tends to be really good. But Dishsoap once again makes a call. He says, you know what? This isn't perfect, but it's going to spike me really hard. It's going to save me a lot of HP. It's going to allow me to win streak, win fights, gain that econ from winning fights. It's really important here. Next augment here. I mean, I don't imagine that it's Capricious or Blossoming Lotus. Unified Resistance sounds okay, but Bastions already get a bunch of RNMR. We already have triple item Lilia, so Crown Guard doesn't look great. Is he really looking at Blossoming Lotus here? I mean, I guess it's crit onto Ahri and stuff like that. I don't know. I'm actually surprised by this. And Vertically Inclined, it's not great. We have 3 traits in. Yeah, he's going to go for the Blossoming Lotus here. Wow, it's kind of a crazy pickup, but I don't completely dislike it here. Obviously, we have the JG built onto the Lilia already, but what this does is it activates the extra crit chance onto our JG, and the big thing here is that Blossoming Lotus is more crit chance across the entire fight. This Lilia is going to ramp up and get even stronger once we get to the end of the fight. And it's also crit for like units like Ari, like Zoe. But yeah, wow. Actually, once again, we rotate into this insanely strong. I think there's another honey player because there are multiple honey players in this game. But Og was level 6 there. I think he had 5 honey with the honey +1. Like his spot is actually really, really scary for Dishsoap. And 74 HP. This is not when you want to be losing when you take Lily Augment. You really, really want to be winning early as possible, as early as possible when you take a 1+ hero augment like this, because your board's gonna fall off late game. Now we're rotating into the other Ari player. Look at this guy. He's holding on to a Lilia 2 on bench. I don't know if he has a Lilia on board, actually. I don't think he does. He's just holding the news for now. Oh, yeah, and this is actually really important to point out for Hong Hong's board. It's actually crazy, but look at this. He picked 2 tanky at 3-2, and he's going to play 2 tanky Ari with news as the front line because he found a bunch of news. Isn't this wild? Like, this is a crazy, crazy setup from him. But it's quite annoying actually for Dishsoap because that just means he's way more interested in contesting. The upside is that, you know, they're only holding on to 3 Lilias. He didn't send it down. This is more like a level 6 type reroll comp. The Nunu and the RE3 he's going to go for on level 6. But, you know, he's still holding on to 3 Lilias, which is a lot when you look at the entire pool. All right, right off carousel here, Dishsoap sees a Pan here. I think Pan is a great pickup for Dishsoap. It can actually be 2 different craftable Pan items here. It can both be Bastion Emblem and it can be Scholar Emblem. So I mean, it's fantastic, right? It's flexible. We don't actually like have the item that we can slam out of Pan yet here, but it's going to allow us to play for very high cap here by potentially getting to like you know, 6 Bastion faster, eventually maybe 8 Bastion. So it looks really good, and you know, it could also be 6 Scholar. But yeah, this makes perfect sense for Dishsoap. Wow, that's actually probably the best. I mean, no, there ain't no probably about it. That is by far the best charm that he could have gotten there. And now he just gets to accelerate really quickly to level 6, just level for the Lilia. Really diligent scouting as well from Dishsoap. You gotta love it. I mean, this is the world stage. If there is a time to not be lazy and to scout every single round and to make sure you know a million times over how many like Aries and things are out of the pool, this is the time to do it. And now, finally, our triple item Lilia, 4 Bastion, Lilia 3. Now this Lilia is starting to do insane work. We just destroyed Milk there. We're 40 gold here. And Disho makes a very smart call, I would say, at this point, and says, you know what? There's so many Aries out of the pool, and I'm going to spike a lot harder if I just look at pushing levels in this point. So I'm not going to say it's 6 and roll for RE3. Lilia is going to be good damage, and Ari is going to be a decent amount of backup damage. But this is my idea: is I'm going to push levels and get to 6 Bastion or 8 Bastion and play around that. Look at this Lilia go, by the way. And once again, I think a beautiful call out from Dishsoap saying it's going to be impossible for me to hit RE3 in this spot. This is like fundamentals of reroll. It's very you know, straightforward when you play a reroll comp like this. You cannot when you're in this spot, you know, send it down because your life's just gonna be too difficult. So what do you do instead? Well, you just push levels and then play around the verticals that you can play around that are very strong. And you know, having this +1 is really nice, though we don't get a way to finish it out actually here. Itemization wise, I'm just looking at Nashers here, I would say. You could reforge the other belts maybe and look for that Bastion component or something for Ari. He removed here with the idea that maybe he could move in a different item to Lilia if we get something better. Like I said, statistically, Titans is very good. I guess you could reforge the belt first, and then if you get Titans, you could make it. Or he could, you know, he could greed, like he could do a little bit greed, but we'll see here. Level up for the Ezreal here for Portal. Once again, talking about pushing levels. He is going to reforge here. Gets Glove, which is actually pretty gross here. Now, I imagine we're going to have to look at building Guardbreaker. Yep, Guardbreaker onto Ari makes perfect sense here. Got to go for it, right? You can't just leave this belt and glove sitting open forever. And then the bow can be Titans in an ideal world. We really need Chains, actually, because Chain is both Bastion +1 and it's Titans. So, you know, your first priority is going to be getting that Bastion +1 because the Pan can't really... I mean, Scholar +1's fine, but Bastion +1 is going to be even better. Whereas, like, you know, if you don't get Titans, it's not the end of the world. All right, we reroll over Witchcraft Crest, and look, they call him the perfect player for a reason. We get Raid Boss here. You guys are going to see a monster Lilia. Combat start, your strongest Bastion gains 20% HP. When other units die, they transfer 20% of their armor and MR to it. So we are going for the Giga Lilia. We also pick up a Rise here, which is kind of... His shops have actually been kind of out of control here. But yeah, this is going to be a monster Lilia. Just enjoying the show. Refill your popcorn. You'll love this next part. Like, this Lilia, she is a monster. An important actually note from Dishsoap here is that, and also who is he? He makes sure to do this, right? This is something kind of... I think it's fine here. Yeah. because I think Bastion, the +1 is gonna go, or the augment goes by strongest, because there is a worry that if you put like two equal strength units in, it will default to the one that entered most recently. So he just put this new one onto the board, and if he was only Lilia 2 at this point, then it's possible that it would have. I think it would then pick the new, but since we're Lilia 3, I'm pretty sure we don't have to worry about that. But yeah, I mean, well, let's just. I mean, it's we can sit back and watch this Lilia go. She's a monster. I mean, look, Dishsoap had some rough games earlier on, and so I think it's perfectly fine for him to get the high roll of the last augment here, and it's so fun to watch this Lilia. I would also just say this is something kind of interesting that that Dishsoap does this game is the way that raid boss works is you want your other bastions to die before Lilia so that they transfer all their stats to Lilia, and now we have this giant, insanely tanky Lilia. This is a scary fight actually, but look at that Lilia. What was the damage chart on for that Lilia, by the way? I want to see at the end there. Yeah, 12,000 damage, not bad at all. But yeah, you want your Lilia to be the last bastion alive. And so some people might say, okay, well, then you should put your Lilia in the middle so that she's not receiving aggro. But actually, you get a lot of value out of also chain on carousel here. So good. You get a lot of value of putting Lilia on the edge here, because if she's taking aggro, that means she's casting faster. That means she's healing herself up a lot faster. So there's actually like an insane amount of value in Lilia getting aggro, which is kind of ironic because, you know, part of you would think, you know, I don't really want her to receive aggro, but I think Tisha makes absolutely the right call here, but for giving her aggro reminds me a little bit of Dragonmancer Nunu days, if anybody is enough of a TFT boomer to remember that. Also, look at this positioning. Dishsoap does this multiple times this game, makes Lilia wrap beautifully, and people are just. This is the world championship, buddy. But you gotta step up your positioning, Hong Kong, because you just let a Lilia wrap to your backline, one tap your Ari, and this is the guy who's contesting us. Once again, like it makes so much sense that that Dishsoap opted to not actually play reroll this game. You know, he opted to just push levels instead because the Lilia is enough as far as board strength, and now he gets to play 6 Bastion on his board. Eventually, maybe 8 Bastion if we can get there. Also, we pick up a really nice pickup in the Zerath. Not only is this just 3 Arcana and like a decent unit on our board, and maybe like a carry if we can get to like level 9 and then play for like a Zerath too. But you also have the other upside of getting those Zerath charms, which could be a ton of econ. You can get the one that gives like Orin item and a support anvil, and then just have like a Giga Lilia. So yeah, really important again for Dishsoap. And oh, and it looked like it went to Ari there. So it's using items. I assumed I thought it was star level first, but maybe I'm crazy. Maybe it's items and then star level and then last unit you put in. In any case here, removes the items off Lilia and makes a really removing that, like gaining that remover is really important. And another really important call here is deciding to build this Titans onto Lilia. Like I talked about, statistically, one of the best items. Just because we had 3 items on Lilia doesn't mean those have to be the 3 items forever. So he decides to make the Titans. It's really solid. Now we can go BT Gunblade here and actually JG onto the Ari. And yeah, I think the Ari is getting raid boss here. I think we need to take the Lilia in and put it back out. Because yeah, they're both 3 items now, and I guess Ari entered more recently. So yeah, I think Ari is raid boss here. I think so, because she looks bigger than the Lilia, but I think he will toggle it soon. But yeah, it's a Titans double healing Lilia. The idea being we already have the jeweled. It's not jeweled Lotus anymore, right? Jeweled, whatever it's called. But we already have that JG type effect onto the Lilia, so it's really not that big of a deal. And boom, there we go. It was actually really quick the way he did it. He did the little hotkey swap, but he takes the Lilia out, puts it back in. You know, we missed for one singular round, but I'm pretty sure every round after this, Dishsoap just like takes the Lilia out and puts it back in every single time, just because he's so scared of accidentally doing that again. Because I mean, we're on an 8 streak here. Imagine if that had lost us the streak. But also, it's so I love watching really good players make little mistakes like that, because it just goes to show how unoptimized we are in TFT, like how even the best players in the world at the World Championship make small mistakes, because there's so many decision points in a game like TFT. You know, I've been playing. Oh, the moon is so good here. This is going to allow us to fish for Diana's, which is going to make getting that 8 Bastion so much easier. Like this is fantastic for us. And yeah, look, every single round he's using hotkeys to bench the Lilia and then immediately put her back in just to make sure that it's. Oh, wait, that was really weird. Why did that happen? Is this augment buggy? Because he just moved his units over. He swapped Ari over. Like, what was that? He swapped Ari over. I guess it's a bug with the I guess it's a bug with the +1 that for some reason when he moves Ari, it like is thinking that he's taking her in and out. That's actually really scary, and it goes to show why Dish Soap is doing that every single round. And yeah, we end up losing this fight. I think he got the Lilia back in time. It's just that it was poor positioning. And honestly, it's actually really, really rough because he could have potentially wrapped. That's Mort Dog, please fix your game. Fix this augment that's going to be not in the game anymore next set. But yeah, okay. So itemization wise, we really don't have much. I mean, we have like heel cut and shred left to find, right? I don't think we have either of those, but none exist here. So I guess we're just gonna go for the Nashers onto the rise. Yeah, we don't have we don't have heel cut or MR shred, so kind of a little bit rough here. But the level 9 is really, really nice for Dish Soap. There's the rise 2 that he can fit onto this board. Poppy really hoping to find one Diana, because that is going to be a huge spike. And finally, at the last second, he finds it. He actually did we get? Okay, yeah, we do get 8 Bastion and just gets out of the Ari at this point because, yeah, who cares about an Ari 2? And then we're just going to play this as our board. We get 2 Scholar and we get Portal in as well with the Zoe. So it looks nice. Our +2. It's kind of crazy that we're playing this Zoe here for just Witchcraft Scholar Portal. I mean, she's a great synergy bot, though I wonder if Dish Soap's going to change his mind about the Zoe down the line. But I mean, hey, the Rise is not bad here, though. I mean, we can also, yeah, that was another fight actually that Rise got the plus the augment. That's actually so scary. But I mean, yeah, he's just doing it every single time, just making sure. I think he just has to make sure not to swap the rise and not swap anything last second, or else it's gonna bug out. But that's yeah, he just has to make sure. Okay, so this is fight versus Hung Hung. It's kind of interesting because the Ari immediately aggroes onto the Lilia, but just look how hard it is for the Ari to kill the Lilia. I think theoretically you want your other Bastions to take aggro first so that they can give that raid boss value over to Lilia. But I mean, in this fight, I don't think it even really matters here. Look at that, just domination. That's what you get. That's what you get for contesting Dish Soap. Never contest the PP. So yeah, great, spot for Dish Soap. Also, I guess he reforged. What happened there? Because now we have a declaw. We did not have a declaw before. I think he reforged. He must have that Nashor's Tooth into this, or else I might. If he didn't do that, I'm losing my mind. There is the Zerath here. That's Zerath pair, which is obviously really good. The second we get Zerath 2, we can think about playing it. We're really low econ here, actually, so he's just going to take the extra MR here. What adaptive helm it would have to be, adaptive helm declaw, and yeah, just throw these onto the Diana here once again. Take the Lily out, put it back in the last second. This actually on the left side we can't wrap, which is pretty rough here. On the right side we can't wrap. On the left side we would have wrapped. The upside though is Rise does get to snipe backline here, but Lilia does go down. There's actually a crazy fight versus Milk, by the way, our NA brethren. I'm actually, when I was watching this this fight, and I wasn't really, I wasn't watching Dish Soap's POV. This fight's actually so good that it's so close for Milk, because look at this. Milk goes third and it's an NA 1, 2, 3. I didn't talk about Milk's positioning for most of this game, but really, really nice. Also really, really smart from Dish Soap actually to move this Diana to the second or to the third row. If you guys don't know, 8 Bastion, the units that you put in the third row cannot take damage until a few other Bastions are dead. So this Diana is actually invulnerable here until a lot of these Bastions die. And now, of course, she's vulnerable at this point. This is also a scary, scary board. The Lilia does end up wrapping just at the last second onto the Straka, which is so, so crazy, and picking up that fight against Dank Memes. So yeah, really, really nice. There's a Melio also here, which is, we'd lose a lot of stuff to put him onto the board. So this is Dish Soap's call, which is a crazy call, but I think it makes a lot of sense here. He moves items off of, he puts the Melio in, and then just the idea is he needs to finish items onto stuff like Zerath, onto like even Diana as well. So he can play this Melio now. It's actually like synergy-less Melio, which is kind of crazy. I wonder actually if this board's weaker than the last one, because I do think this fight ends up being insanely close. And does Lilia? Yeah, I think he does barely end up losing this fight, which is obviously, a little rough. But hey, there's another Melio in Carousel, which could be Melio pair. There's also just Shiv and a red buff if he wants to guarantee. Yeah, I like this a lot, guaranteeing the heal cut here. There's a question of whether you put it onto like who you put it on, really. And he makes the choice to put onto Diana. I think this is a fantastic decision for Dish Soap here. She spreads it quite well. She does a pretty big AoE. And the problem with putting it onto someone like Zerath, it's going to take a while for Zerath to cast, getting it here onto the This unit, the Diana, is really, really good. Also, this is the second time it happens. Let's do an instant replay because this fight's already over, man. Look at this wrap from Lilia. Just the solo front line here. It's no match. The Lilia just walks straight to back line. People are sleeping on the Dish Soap here, and it is just an easy dub for Dish Soap. I don't know. This is such a fun game to watch. So much crazy stuff happened, and I really, really want to drive home the part about itemization. I think Dish Soap itemized like a world champion this game. I think, a lot of worse players would have, tried to greed items and had a much worse game for it. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe. I believe I'm gonna be co-streaming tomorrow morning with Kai. So tune into that. I'll drop a link in the description down below for that. Worlds once again starts at 4 a.m. Pacific time. And hey, if you wake up a little later, there's gonna be 6 games. So you can wait. Actually, there might be 7 games tomorrow. Now that I think about it, I don't remember exactly. Well, I'll remind Kai of the format because there's no way he's gonna remember it. But come tune in if you want. Oh, I should also call out. Maybe if I pull up my YouTube homepage, it will see it. Not the Chapel Roan Tiny Desk concert, but I should watch that. Yes, here it is. Project Mentor from Kai. I am doing Project Mentor again this set. If you're not familiar with it, just Google Project Mentor or look up Project Mentor or Kai's channel. Maybe I'll put a link in the description down below as well. But it is it's a mentorship program. It's basically coaching across the entire set. It's a really, really in-depth program. We have multiple tournaments in the program as well. It is going to be really, really sick. It's quite expensive. It's expensive. So it's only for people who are really, really dedicated to TFT and who want to be to be fair though, like if you price it out for every session that you get, it's not that bad. But obviously you pay as a lump sum for this. That's the idea, is that we want to have people who are dedicated throughout the entire set. So if you work in Silicon Valley, then and you want some coaching, or I don't know, if you really care about TFT, and you want to go for it, and be the best player you can be, sign up. You get to pick kind of like mentors to choose from. So you would pick me and like 2 other people that are kind of like your options. And if you're interested, I'll have the link in the description to at least Kai's video, and then he has all of his links there. Okay, I made this video way too long. Goodbye.